Welcome to the second book of the 7 books that have changed our lives. Now, if you haven't heard our first book, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Go over to the iTunes episode now and take a listen. This book is another one of my recommendations, and it is The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. And so I'll start giving just a brief overview of what the book is about. And really, it is what the slight edge is. It's the complete understanding and faith that it is the small things done every day that are the difference between success and failure over time. It's quite a single-minded book, really. It doesn't actually go into too much more than this. It just hammers it home with example after example.
One of those where you read the start and you kind of get the message, and then they just keep going over and over and over.
Yeah, saying here it is again, and here it is again. Yeah.
Different examples.
And it gives loads of examples, which is great. And it really does hammer it home.
Have you got an example then to put it into...
Yeah, so it talks about, so that's it. It's the slight things every single day that make a difference. Never some big occasion. You know, you can easily look at a big event that's happened, a business that's blown up, gone really good, or someone that's had overnight success. And this kind of breaks that right down and says that's never the case. It's always the sort of small things done every single day over time, and it talks quite a lot about time as well, and how that's on your side.
To put it into terms for you and me.
Yeah, if we were to have an example, it could be a food, could be an easy one, or actually drink. So I remember an example, it says about, do you have every day you could decide, you know, at lunchtime whether you have a glass of water or a Coke / orange juice, something like that. And at the time, it's such an insignificant decision that it doesn't matter. You think it doesn't matter. And so you could choose the Coke. However, tomorrow you'll have the same decision and you'll go, well, it's almost like one Coke's not going to harm.
But
and
when
so
you
have
say
a Coke.
that over a year.
But then it's that Coke every single day over your lifetime is the difference
between good teeth and bad teeth.
Yeah, exactly. And it says about why people don't adopt this mentality, and it's the fact that these decisions are insignificant. It says if you were to have a cheeseburger, imagine if a cheeseburger immediately led to a fatal heart attack, then no one would have a cheeseburger. But it doesn't. One cheeseburger doesn't matter. And so, however, it's the people that may want to have a cheeseburger, I don't know, 2-3 times a day, every single day, that it could lead to that heart attack.
2-3 times a week, more like.
Well, to get a heart attack, you probably need to eat a lot of cheeseburgers. So that is it in a nutshell. It's the slight things done every single day.
So what about that changed your life, Ross?
That changed my life because it was a real...
You stopped eating cheeseburgers.
Yeah, now I no longer eat... No, I do eat cheeseburgers, but I don't have Coke. No, it was actually just the understanding. I said that they talk about time a lot, that everyone has one finite resource, which is time. You know, everyone has 24 hours in a day. And so it's always what you do. It's always your habits. It's always those things that you fill that limited amount of time with every single day that's going to be the difference. It's not like some event in the future. It's not kind of like when I do this, or, you know, there's this big thing that I've got planned. Well, actually, it's not about a big event. It's about today, what you do right now. It's kind of like any result is a result of your daily habits and your daily actions just added up over time. And that has affected me in loads of different ways. Definitely investing, because you could say, you know, and I come back to this insignificance of seeing it day by day. It's hard to spot. It actually says, you know, one penny doubled is 2 pennies. Big deal. You know, 1 cent doubled, 2 cents, who cares? It's nothing. But actually, that was a double. That was 100% increase. But you wouldn't see it day by day. And if that's multiplied over time, then that could, you know, equate to millions and millions of pounds if you're talking about investing in that way. But you don't. You kind of like, it's too small. It's too insignificant for you to even spot it. But the biggest thing that this book kind of affected me is talking about time. That really does hit home around, when to start, especially if you're listening to this now and you want to do something on your own. You may be looking to start a side project or go self-employed. Well, if you understand that there's no kind of big momentous occasion that's around the corner that you just need to do somewhen, it really breaks it down to that there is no such thing as somewhen.
Well,
all there
no
is
reason why I shouldn't just do it
right now, right now, because it kind of breaks down the fact that there's no future. The future is always today, just always today, and tomorrow will be another today. So it's what I do today that is my future, if that makes sense.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Some like Inception thing going on right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So did it help you? Well, when did you read it? How long ago?
About 3 years ago, I read it.
So do you think it helped you with your patience as well? Because when I hear you saying that, I think, oh, right, so when I get back from the gym later on, I'm not going to look like a supermodel. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, do you
absolutely.
think it's helped you with your patience?
Patience, yep, and perseverance.
Because being committed to something.
It's understanding that if you want to do something, you need to start right now. And that if the outcome of right now is quite small, but progressive, then that's fine. Because then tomorrow could be a small progressive outcome. And they could all be leading towards this big outcome that you wanted. But maybe previously, before reading The Slight Edge or really kind of internalizing this, you may have thought that someday you're really going to change your behavior and you're just going to do that big thing. But actually, it doesn't happen like that. And one quote from the book that I really, really like is it says, anytime you see what looks like a breakthrough, it is always the end result of a long series of little things done consistently over time. So there's no overnight success. The people that have done that have put in the hours every single day. And so it's just kind of, you need to start now and not think of the future as a somewhere. I know so many people, and I was exactly the same, that said, someday I'll do this. I want to do X someday. But that doesn't actually make sense.
And I guess it's quite difficult nowadays if you haven't read a book or kind of have that mentality in your mind, because we have so much visibility to the success of others, whether they run a company, whether they're an influencer, through social, through all of the channels that we can get our hands on now, and you just see the company or whatever as they are today. You don't see what they had to go through to get to where they got to. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And the media loves an overnight success.
But there's never such a thing, is there?
There's never such a thing. It also talks quite a lot about your philosophy and the difference between motivation to do something and your real deep philosophy of why you want to do it and what you kind of stand for. And that also was something that I took from this book quite strongly, because motivation comes and motivation goes. You could have a want to achieve a certain result and be motivated one day, but you could also not be motivated another day, and you'll be kind of stuck in that cycle, ongoing, probably never achieving it if all you've got is that same motivation. It's only when your philosophy towards that thing changes, which is kind of like a much deeper connection with it, a much deeper reason.
Values tend to stay set, don't they? And unless something like massive happens, I don't think your values tend to wobble too much. So like you said, if you hold those strong in your mind, then when your motivation dips or peaks, it shouldn't impact.
Yeah, but but you might need to change your philosophy. So I'm not saying that your philosophy is set and that's it. What it is that you need to ask yourself the difficult questions about why you want to do stuff. If you're trying to achieve something or you want to do it and it's not coming from, a real deep place, a deep philosophy that you see yourself being that person. If it's something fickle, then you'll be relying on motivation and you just won't do it. You'll be up one day and down another. But if it's kind of like inherent in you, it just feels right, it's really part of one of your values, like you say, then your motivation is just always going to be there. And that, coupled with the understanding that you need to start today and do the small things over and over and over, day by day, will get you there. It's a great sort of way to really get started and approach breaking down what can be like a big looking task into everyday actions. So that was just a quick overview, as we're doing in this mini series, and just kind of an insight really into how that's affected our lives. I'd be really, really interested to hear if any of you have read the book. Do get in touch and see if there's anything else, maybe that we've missed or that you really took from it that would be good for us to find out. So that was The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and stay tuned for our next few episodes. So we're only 2 books into the 7 books that changed our lives, and next book is going to be one of your books, isn't it, Lucy?
Mm-hmm. You have to tune in to find out what it is.
Exactly. So stay tuned and hope you enjoyed this episode.